Hello, Liverpool fans, and I'm sure hello, Newcastle fans as well. We've had some massive news regarding Alexander Isak. He has finally broken his silence amongst all this transfer news, all this gossip, and it's been put on his Instagram story, and I'm going to read it out. But before I begin, if you are new here, please hit the subscribe and hit the like as well. It's always really greatly appreciated. But let's just get straight into it and sort of read what Isak put out on his Instagram. For a bit of context, today is the PFA Awards, where the team of the season gets announced, the player of the season, the PFA player of the season anyway, the PFA team of the season, and the PFA young player of the season. And of course, the team of the season got announced, and Alexander Isak, big credit to him, well deserved, is in that team of the season for the Premier League. And yeah, I think everyone knows that he deserved it. He had a really good season for Newcastle United, but what he has said has really shocked me. So let's read it out. He says on his Instagram, "I'm proud to be recognised by my fellow professionals with a place in the PFA Premier League team of the season for 24-25. First and foremost, I want to thank my teammates and everyone at Newcastle United who has supported me along the way. I'm not at the ceremony tonight with everything going on. It didn't feel right to be there. I've kept quiet for a long time while others have spoken. The silence has allowed people to push their own version of events, even though they know it doesn't reflect what was really said and agreed behind closed doors. The reality is that promises were made, and the club has known my position for a long time. To now act as if these issues are only emerging is misleading. When promises are broken and trust is lost, the relationship can't continue. That's where things are for me right now, and why change is the best interest of everyone, not just myself." So there we have it. Alexander Isak goes on his Instagram and puts this out. He wants to go to Liverpool Football Club. It's almost like he feels that he's being held hostage by Newcastle United. And you know what the funny thing is? If I ask you as a Newcastle fan, Liverpool fan, put in the comments down below. But I'm sure Newcastle fans just want Isak gone. He's just making everything so much worse for himself. You would never think after what he did across last season that this would be the case with him. You just would not think that this will be the case with him. And I'm sure Newcastle United fans have already moved on from him. They've got Jacob Ramsey in. They want to get Wissa. They want to get another centre forward in as well. But I think what Isak needs to understand here is Newcastle do want to sanction a deal for him. They do want him to leave. But unless they've got their players in, their replacements in, they can't really let him go. You know, why would Newcastle United want to let go of their best player if they haven't got two adequate replacements? Let's think from a logic point of view. It just doesn't make sense. But from the Liverpool point of view, they've put their bid in. They feel like 125 million is the right price for Isak. I feel like in the context of the situation, it does make sense as well. So from their POV, they're ready for Isak. They want him to come now. So you can sort of look at it from both clubs' perspective and see the frustration and Isak's frustration as well. And of course, this guy's really good. Let's not just act like this is a scrub. This is a really, really good footballer, and he has potential to do on some fantastic things and win brilliant awards, the best of the best awards. And for his career, from his point of view, he felt last season, you could even see it after last season when Newcastle missed out on European football, he wanted to go. I think last summer was really when Isak wanted to go. But Newcastle United were like, you know what, stay for one more season. We'll let you go at the end of the season. Gentleman agreement. You know, it does make sense. And this has been reported by many people. Indy Kyler's been right on top of this Newcastle United story for a while. But again, gentleman agreements, they're in nowadays football, I don't think they hold that much weight. That's what I'm trying to say here. I feel like Isak should recognise if there wasn't a release clause in the contract, you can't really blame Newcastle United because anyone could just shake hands on something, and as long as it's not written down anywhere or is contracted, for me it doesn't really count. You know, that's just where football is. How many times have we seen across this whole transfer window where a player said, oh, I had a gentleman's agreement. Wissa, he felt he had a gentleman's agreement. He's now doing the same method as Isak. Something needs to change in the grand scheme of things in football. Maybe giving players the opportunity to cancel their own contract. But then that would mean that their club doesn't get profit, doesn't earn anything from that player. And that's quite unfair. What can we do? You know, what can we genuinely do? Because I feel like at the end of this sort of saga, Isak will be a Liverpool player. I don't see a sort of scenario, where Isak isn't a Liverpool player at the end of this saga. I feel like having a toxic, unhappy player, it just doesn't help anyone at Newcastle United. This is a project that wants to move forward. This is a team that wants to move forward. And Alexander Isak throwing this little bit of a fit, wanting to go to Liverpool, it's not good for them. You know, it just isn't good for them. So from a Newcastle POV, like I've said many times before when I've covered this saga, keeping Alexander Isak at the moment, it just doesn't make sense. They're moving forward as a club. They had a really positive showing up against Aston Villa. Everybody did not expect Newcastle to come out flying like that with no recognised centre forward, but yet that's what they did. We all know Newcastle are playing up against Liverpool on Monday Night Football. That's going to be an absolute cracker, and I can't wait to sort of analyse that game after it's finished. But from an emotional point of view, from a business point of view as well, from a personal point of view of Alexander Isak as well, him going to Liverpool just makes so much sense. And I'm sure Liverpool fans are equally as tired as Newcastle United fans. They just want it to end. They just want Isak to be in their own colours so they can move on with the rest of the window. Because we know Liverpool have already got in Diego Leone. They want to get Mark Guehi in as well. But they need a decision. They need an end to this saga. Because they may as well just go and get someone like Bradley Barcola, who's a phenomenal winger. They've been offered somebody like Ademola Lookman, who I think is really, really good as well. So there's players that Liverpool have been offered that if this Isak deal doesn't go on, they want to get them in as quickly as possible so that they can integrate them, as I pick up this Kozo. But yeah, that's the stance of Liverpool Football Club at the minute. It's just not helping anybody. I don't think you ask anybody in this Isak saga, how do you feel? They'll come out with a POV or the feeling that it's going exactly to plan. Do Newcastle want to really hold him hostage? No. Do Liverpool really want to be dragging this on to the last days of the window, and for whatever reason Newcastle can't get a centre forward in and Isak gets reintegrated? I know this seems alien-like or so unlikely, but if that's the case, that's not what anybody wants. They don't want to be leaving themselves doubting and unsure right up until the end of the window. That just does not benefit anybody whatsoever. It genuinely doesn't. And for me, I'm trying to look at it from a point of view of both the clubs, because I know a lot of you guys follow me from Liverpool and Newcastle. Who could Newcastle bring in? There's Strand Larson, there's Samu, there's so many names being brandished about, but Isak hasn't helped his case, I think, in terms of going so heavy on this strike, because everybody knows Newcastle United want to get in a new centre forward. You can ask a 2-year-old, a 1-year-old, the name Isak, I'm sure even they will be able to understand that he wants to leave. So for Newcastle, when they're going to buy a centre forward, they're going to raise the price. Look at Wissa, for example. That's somebody that Newcastle United want to get in. Brentford keep raising the price because they know Newcastle United are desperate. They know they're desperate. Liverpool can afford to play a little bit more of a waiting game because they know at the end of the day, Newcastle are going to have to spend and splurge some money on the centre forward here because they don't want an unhappy player. They don't want to have maybe Isak may decide to just have this sort of thing where he doesn't want to play whatsoever and he's not even going to accept being reintegrated, which is just damaging him, damaging Newcastle, damaging just everybody who wants to watch the Premier League because we want to see the best players playing. We don't want to see these spats. But for me, absolutely, something's got to change in terms of when players are unhappy. Maybe they got a clause to leave for half their value. Or there needs to be something because the way this saga is going doesn't suit anybody whatsoever.